Broadcasting from Now Media Network's headquarters in Houston, this is Be Productive, hosted by business strategist and productivity expert Clara Capano. Join us to discuss the most critical issues affecting our businesses with a fresh, practical, and objective discussion on the first bilingual media network in the United States. Be Productive starts right now.
Hello and welcome to Be Productive. I am your host, Clara Capano, and this is the show where I speak with industry experts to provide you with real strategies that are going to help you level up and be able to build your bottom line and maintain high levels of focus and productivity. Today, we're going to be talking about profits. You know, at the end of the day, this is what we're after. We want to see increased profits. So some of the things that we're going to be talking about today with our guests are being able to help you understand the importance of value and delivering value and how that affects your bottom line. We're going to be talking about how to increase your profits by reducing your costs. We're going to be talking about creating systems for being able to stay purposeful with your taxes so that we are not creating a snowball effect at the end of the year. And then also, how do we maintain and continue to get results and build those profits even during times of change and challenge? So you're going to want to take notes for this one because we're getting ready to get into it. So stay tuned because we're going to be right back for Be Productive. Welcome back to Be Productive. As business professionals, one of the things we have to pay attention to and we have to do are our taxes. And I know that talking about taxes is not always the most fun thing to do. So to help us with the conversation of how we can start to be more purposeful and proactive with our taxes is my friend and bookkeeper extraordinaire, Nora, who runs Nora's Book. So Nora, welcome to the show.
Hi, Clara. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So, we are just coming off of tax season. And I know the idea, if we could wave our magic wands, is all of us would be very proactive and get our taxes done on time. But the reality is, especially for a lot of entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, they don't always get them done on time. So what is some advice that you have for some of the people out there who maybe needed to file an extension and haven't quite gotten their taxes completed yet?
So if they did not file their taxes, I hope they filed an extension. And I want to highlight here, when you file an extension, it's an extension to file, not an extension to pay. So if you actually think you should have paid some taxes because you might owe, make sure you pay your taxes now as soon as possible, because every day you delay those taxes, you're going to be paying penalties and interest. And you want to avoid paying those expenses as much as possible. But if you file an extension, that's good. It's going to take you to give you actually extra 6 months. So it depends, of course, on your deadline. If it was March 15, or if you are LLC or C Corp, that was April 15. So 6 months from that. So your tax return is going to be either due on September 15, if you are S Corp, if you are a partnership or multi-member LLC. It's going to be October 15 if you are LLC, and for your individual return, which is also if you have an LLC, that's where your business returns goes with your personal, or is a C Corp. So 6 months later, you have to file it. But don't wait until then. File as soon as possible, because that gives you a time to focus on your current year. Because if you wait until then, number one, that's the last extension you can get. Number two, it's going to distract you from achieving your goal for the current year.
I get that. So, you mentioned the idea that I can put an extension in to file, but I still should pay. I would imagine this is when working with someone like you, can guide us on giving us an idea and an estimate of what we should pay now. Is that correct? Am I assuming that correctly?
Definitely. You need to be working on with tax professional. Hopefully you are doing your bookkeeping in regular basis. Hopefully you have done tax planning. Now, if you've been paying your estimated taxes, quarterly estimated taxes every single quarter, if you owe any taxes, then you should be fine. You should already know how much you would owe. And let me tell you a secret, like if this is the case, most likely you won't need to do an extension because you're already organized. But if you are already needing extension, maybe you are trying to catch up to get organized, that's fine too. There is nothing wrong with it. Sometimes you would be probably waiting for a document that you did not receive. So you have to wait for that document. So that's fine. So working with a tax professional actually all year round will give you more idea on what you have to pay or if you owe or not, because you should not everyone will owe, because also it depends on your situation, not only on your business, your marital status, you have kids or not, like does your kids go to school or not, like a lot of other elements. Do you have investments? Are you applying tax strategies that saves you so much in taxes, or you're not utilizing any of that? So if you're making an extension where you do not owe taxes and you know you do not owe taxes, you will be fine. Just do the filing extension to file and you will be fine, because I mean, they don't want to pay you your money right away. They don't care about that. Even though if you file early and then they delayed your money, they still give you interest. Now it's taxable. So they will send you actually a letter saying that you got paid that much money in interest. You have to make sure it's included in your tax return.
Oh my goodness, all these little loopholes. I love it. So, what are the benefits maybe of paying quarterly versus annually? Is that something that's reserved just for LLCs or S corps? Like, kind of explain, the difference between the annual versus a quarterly, tax prep.
So ideally, you should be paying taxes all year round, like on a quarterly basis. They want to have that. If you are an employee, your employer take care of that part. So this is when you see some significant amount of your paycheck is not there anymore. That's because of these income tax and other stuff. So your employer hold these income tax and pay it off to federal every quarter. That sometimes, like, it depends. Well, this is not this, for federal, it's every quarter. So you don't feel it. You don't feel like you have to pay those estimated taxes because it's already done for you. But when you are a business owner, no one's doing that for you. So you have to be doing that part. So IRS do not want you to wait until the end of the year to pay it. They want to have their money right away throughout the year. So if you owe so much money by the end of the year, you will get penalized because you did not pay in a quarterly basis. So it's kind of like you have to. I know, like, a lot of people don't know about it, but this is why I love talking about it so much, because I realized when I started my business, a lot of business owners, they've been in business for years, they've been paying penalties and interest, and they did not recognize that it's just because simply they did not pay their estimated taxes in a quarterly basis. And I want to highlight here, it's not a filing you do, it's just a payment you make.
Definitely. So, I see this every year in about January and February, where all of my friends are stressed out and they spend an entire weekend, doing nothing but putting their taxes together. And I know part of that is because we get all the tax statements in January. But what are some other things that people can be doing, maybe on a monthly or quarterly basis, to help alleviate the pain and the stress in the first quarter of the year, so that next year in 2025, how can we prepare ourselves to make it easier next spring for us when we file?
So I would say just make sure you are doing a monthly bookkeeping. Yeah, I highly recommend a tax plan, because this way, like, you would be like record keeping everything, making sure like you're using strategies. Like when you do bookkeeping, you have all these, you are organized, so you don't need to organize anything. And then when you give your accountant your documents, you already have everything organized. So you don't need to worry about anything.
Exactly. You know, it follows the same thing that we talk about in so many of the shows. It's the idea of having that discipline and doing a little bit because it's going to add up and really make a big difference down the road. So it's the same thing. You know, do a little bit each month to, again, prepare yourself to make it easier for you. So I love that. And this is why, again, partnering with an expert like you, making sure that you have somebody in your corner. Now, you know, you are not just an expert in the area of taxes. You're an expert in being a business owner, and you have some exciting news because you have also just launched your own show on our Now Media Network. So tell us a little bit about your show.
Yes, I'm really excited to share this information because this show just started on March of 2024, if you're watching later. So we had already 5 episodes going. It's already there. You can watch it on Now Media Television. It's actually highlighting women achievement in business and nonprofits. So you would hear about a lot of things that women impact and life and business world. So it would be a lot of inspiring story. And this is actually very dear to my heart because I love to highlight women's impact, because without us, like, men will struggle. We will struggle without them too. But, you know, it's just like we like to brag about ourselves, and they can do that too.
Exactly. Well, I am so excited for you, and I love the messages that you are sharing, and you've always brought so much value to our episodes. So thank you so much for what you're doing. And for all of you that are following, not only take a look at her own show, but also make sure, get yourself prepared. You know, sit down with whoever it is that is helping to guide you with your taxes. If you're doing them on your own, you know, come up with a program where you can do a little bit each month and make sure that you're getting yourself educated so that you can make sure to protect your dollars and keep yourself from those penalties that sometimes we don't know about. So stay tuned, because we'll be right back for more Be Productive. Welcome back to Be Productive. I am so excited about this next segment because we're talking about value. And what we mean by this is one of the best ways that we can ensure an exceptional customer journey is by making sure that we are listening to our customers and that we are really delivering value to them. So I'm bringing back my friend, Greg Schaffer, and he is a information security specialist. And you may think, why are we talking this in productivity? But again, we're going to talk about uniqueness and really understanding, when you have someone who is an expert, how you can really identify the unique services and values that you can bring to your people. So Greg, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Clara. Happy to be back.
Yes. So you're in cybersecurity, you know, and your company that really delivers, again, this high level of defining the information that companies have, and then also developing systems and tools to help them protect them. What are some of the systems that oftentimes organizations overlook when they're developing the systems to keep themselves protected and safe?
I think it's important to understand when we talk about vCISO services and the systems and the processes that they help protect, is to first take a step back and understand what a quality virtual CISO service looks like. And the reason why I mentioned this is that there's a lot of options out there. So it's important to vet. You're basically wanting to get the experience of someone who has done that sort of executive information security risk management before. You're paying for experience and for skill set. And sometimes there can be services where you don't have that. So we talk about unique services that virtual CISOs can offer. A lot of that ties into what their skill set is. Now, a lot of small and mid-sized businesses, they'll first reach out to a virtual CISO type service because they realize that they need to be compliant with some various regulation. And I think what the businesses overlook at that point in time is the opportunity to actually build their program. It's great to become compliant, whether it be for a SOC 2 audit, for example, or a HIPAA high trust audit in healthcare, those sorts of things. There's nothing wrong with that. You need that for your business, but use that opportunity as a launching point for growing your information security program. Start with building that holistic information security program. When you have that, compliance will naturally follow. Sometimes there's this perception that virtual CISO services is only for compliance. Now, another misperception in that is that sometimes people think that virtual CISO services is only for being an IT issue. And that's false, because information security goes far beyond technology. It's about risk management. Now, a good virtual CISO will help with not only managing your information security risk, but also with integrating that into your risk program. And if you're a small business that doesn't have an enterprise risk management program, ERM, then the information security risk management can help be a jumping point for that.
Yeah. And one of the things I love so much about what you do and what you provide through your services is making sure that everything is tailored to the companies that you work with, because everybody is unique and has different needs. So what are some of the things that you do and your company does specifically to deliver that value by tailoring, to the specific needs of the companies that you work with?
One thing we can't do is be a one size fits all. As you mentioned, every business is unique. And what we try to do first and foremost is to understand the organization's culture. And this varies not only from business to business and industry to industry, but also to size and stage of the business. If you have a small, mid-sized business with, say, 50 people that's been established for 5, 6, 7 years, they're going to have different needs than a startup that maybe has the same number of employees. So employee number isn't exactly the correct metric in these senses. And the reason why you have to understand the culture is because there are things that you need to be able to understand what to use a word, to ignore with regards to information security. And I don't mean ignore on a perpetual basis, but rather put off from a risk perspective. Different organizations based on their culture have different risk tolerances. And so by understanding that, we don't want to propose something to a business that doesn't fit their culture, because then it won't get implemented. We can't implement some of the changes. We're consultants and we can only advise, but we want to see success. We want you to be successful. And from our responsibility, our perspective, it starts with integrating with the business culture.
Yeah, definitely. Can you provide maybe of an example of something that you worked with and some of the systems that you helped people create?
Well, in addition to the culture, we try very much to mentor the organization. And sometimes what that is that we'll have a primary contact who's in information technology, who doesn't really have much information security experience beyond some of the IT related stuff, configuring firewalls and endpoint detection and response systems, those sorts of things. Information security, as I noted before, goes way beyond the IT aspect. It really is risk management. And sometimes that's a very difficult concept to get because risk management isn't like IT, which is either yes or no. It's binary by definition, on or off. Risk management is a lot more subjective about understanding the probabilities of something happening. And honestly, folks in IT, and I can say this because I was one of these and I had to go through the process of learning about risk management many years ago. It's a difficult concept to grasp at first because you want the answers right there. So we offer also mentoring solutions, not only during the course of doing the virtual CISO engagement, but we also offer it outside of the virtual CISO engagement. So for example, if there's an organization that wants to build their security program in-house and they've already identified a resource for that, they don't necessarily need our virtual CISO services, but they need someone to guide the resource internal as to how to do that. So we'll help them with mapping frameworks or performing risk assessments, determining risk mitigation strategies. Because again, like I said, an effective information security program is all about risk management. And if we can help mentor folks to do that correctly, then we're helping to solve the problem in another way.
Yeah. And again, you mentioned, we can't be one size fits all. And it's really even simple. It starts at the very first interaction. And if I remember correctly, companies, leaders, they can go to your website and book a free conversation with you to even just start the process, to really, give you a chance to ask them questions and learn about them and what their goals are. So tell us a little bit about how they can make that happen.
Absolutely, and I appreciate the opportunity because that's part of the mentoring process. Even like a 15-minute conversation, be happy if you have a question like, what does a virtual CISO do? I've heard that term, or what should I look for? I'm happy to do that. You can go to our website at vcisoservices.com, and there'll be a button on the front page. It's also on the Contact Us page that just basically says, book an appointment. So it's pretty self-explanatory. And that'll give you a 15-minute block that we can talk about things with regards to information security and hopefully answer your questions. And happy to do that.
Beautiful. Well, Greg, thank you so much for being here today. And for all of you that are following, make sure, one, that you have gone through the process of identifying and also protecting your information, but take a lesson from what Greg was talking about. Be a mentor for your people as well. We are here to build long-time business relationships. And one of the ways you're going to do that is not by selling, but by consulting, mentoring, and guiding your people to success as well. So stay tuned. We'll be right back for more Be Productive. Welcome back to Be Productive. One of the best parts of business is when we make a profit. We love when that money starts rolling in and we have those profits at the end of the day. In order for us to really start to look at the bottom line, we also have to pay attention to ways in which we can reduce costs. So to help me with the conversation today about cost reduction strategies is I have my friend Rob Tritt with Profit Partner Group here to help us with this conversation. So Rob, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Clara. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Yes. And, it is so important that we're talking about these because there's so many different nuances to, again, running a profitable business. You have to look at the revenue coming in. You have to look at the systems you have. You have to look at all the things that you're leveraging to reduce the costs and bringing all of that together in one pretty package so that it all starts working in synergy together. So from your standpoint as an expert in this area, what are some of the most effective strategies for reducing operational costs without having to compromise our value?
The first thing is going back to looking at the numbers, and let's look for places where we're spending more money than we need to. Simple things like you'd be surprised how often businesses have subscriptions, for instance, to different things that they spend a lot of money on those kind of things, and they don't need to. But also we can look at things like labor, which obviously is a huge component to most businesses, what they spend each month. So making sure that all the employees are doing the proper jobs and not overlapping too much. Some overlap is okay in the case of like cross-training and that sort of thing. But you don't want to have 10 people doing the work of 5 if there's no demand for the product for 10 people to do it. So being efficient with your labor, materials, obviously, making sure that you're getting proper pricing when you're buying materials. So talking with vendors, suppliers, source those out properly, renegotiating things where they might be spending too much on materials, and obviously reviewing process and procedures to look for inefficiencies, redundancies, bottlenecks. Those things all drive up the cost for a product.
Yeah. Two of the things that you brought up that I think are really important to bring some light on is one of the items of the materials. I think we have heard so many horror stories of companies and organizations that cut costs only to have it cost them more in the long run because they were, again, they were compromising that value and that quality like you talked about. So that's why I love when you say, do your due diligence, renegotiate, talk with more than one vendor because you don't want to compromise that value when you're looking to reduce costs. But the other thing that you brought up is the idea of really making sure that you're not having multiple people doing the same job. How often do you find that coming up where people are overdoing and overstepping and doing the same jobs?
Very often, actually, especially as the company get larger, there are more and more people who are overlapped. And I think that comes back to each person just simply not knowing what they should be doing when they should be doing it. And so that ends up being a management / leadership failure.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we talk a lot in other segments. We've talked about, again, doing strategic planning. I think a big part of this is also making sure you're updating the job descriptions and making sure that, again, it's very clear when you put your organizational charts together. So again, everybody knows exactly what's expected of them, what's going to be required of them, and everybody's on the same page, because that's how you're going to make sure, again, that we're not, crossing over and doing those things, because that's a huge time suck. But also, again, that's going to increase our costs. So I appreciate you bringing that up. What about technology? Technology is so important. We never want it to replace the human element, but obviously we need technology. So what are some of the best technology systems that you've seen out there to help us leverage the reduction of costs?
So, obviously, technology is great, and we really need to embrace technology because it can make processes and procedures flow much more smoothly. Things that are redundant, those things that a lot of cases are very manual, they can be automated to make things smoother, to make things go more efficiently. Obviously, companies, if they have the ability to implement an ERP system, resource planning system, then those are fantastic to use to bring data in from multiple places in the company and aggregate that into a place where lots of different people can see, make the company more transparent. You have management can see what they need to see, accountants can see what they need to see, inventory and production can see what they need to see. So the ERP system is a fantastic tool to have. CRM systems for sales is also amazing to have if you have a good one. So definitely.
Yeah, all of those are so great. And I love how, you talk about the process of automation. And I know firsthand when I was working on a team many years ago, our CRM was all linked together. So if a client called in, and even if it was your client, if you were out, I was able to see what you were working on so that I could be the interface and still deliver the value. Also, now with my CRM, again, it allows me to have my workflow systems together so I'm not constantly running behind. It does, again, just helps you stay more purposeful and more proactive, which is going to, again, allow you to be more productive, but also deliver a higher level of value and quality to your clients. What about supply chain management? Talk to us a little bit about what's the impact of supply chain management and how that could impact our cost reductions.
So again, that comes back to making sure that all of the materials and the labor is all efficient. We have good pricing on materials. We work with vendors that are properly giving us the materials at a good price that we need. We have labor that's distributed properly so that everybody's doing the job they're supposed to be doing and without overlapping redundancies, that sort of thing. We have a process that goes boom, boom, boom in the manufacturing process. So the supply chain, the efficiencies, as long as we have an efficient supply chain, then we're going to have a well done product at a proper price.
Yeah. Amazing. And I would imagine, again, first of all, knowing every company is different, and so it's not going to be across the board, but I would imagine that when somebody brings in a consultant like you and really helps them go through these, when they start to do the proper analysis and put some of these automations and processes, I bet on the low end, they can see a reduction of costs probably around 3 to 5%, which when you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, it could be a game changer for them.
Oh, absolutely. Just going by and going to, analyzing the business and looking at places where the potential losing money, 3 to 5% is nothing. I mean, I've worked with clients who, after everything was said and done, they were making hundreds of percent improvement.
Crazy.
So, huge.
And
huge.
many times it's just in those little teeny tweaks that they
Yes.
can't see themselves. Again, another reason why it's so valuable to invest in bringing in someone like you. So with that in mind, where is the best place for people to find you? Because I know there's people out there that are going to want to reach out to you and learn more about how you can help them reduce their costs.
Well, I'm certainly on LinkedIn, so you can always go to LinkedIn to find me. You can also call me at 770-256-8216. You can email me at rob@profitpartnergroup.com. And of course, my website is profitpartnergroup.com as well.
Beautiful. Well, Rob, thank you so much for being here. And for all of you that are following, again, make sure that you have your systems in place. Remember, we want to put you in a position where you're being more productive so you can make more money, but we have to make sure that we are also eliminating those needless costs. And when you work with a professional, they're going to help you see the things that you may not be able to see on your own, so that you can elevate and increase your profits as you minimize your costs. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We'll be right back for more Be Productive. Hi, and welcome back to Be Productive. You know, we're all looking for success. You know, that's why we're here. And we're here to get strategies from some of the best in all different industries. You know, we want to make sure that we are on the right path, because the path to success, you're going to have challenges. You're going to have trips and falls. And if you don't have people in your corner helping you to analyze what you're doing, it's going to be harder to overcome those challenges. So to help me with this discussion today about how we can really get the results, even in the face of challenges, is I have my friend, Mark Wetzig, who is a growth strategist. So Mark, welcome to the show.
Good to see you. Good to be here on again.
Yeah, you know, you always bring just amazing tips. And I am so grateful to have you here because, you know, life is challenging. Business is challenging. Being a leader is challenging. And what we need to know is we don't have to be afraid of these challenges. We just need to know how to embrace them and how to leverage them. So talk to me a little bit in your business, because you've been a growth strategist coach for a long time. How do you really work with your clients in helping them determine what their goals and challenges might be?
First, business ownership, entrepreneurship is a very personal thing. So one of the things that I've seen in the industry in general, kind of on the coaching side, is that we have all our systems and processes and what we can do, you know, and our specializations and our subject matter expertise, which is all valuable, but it has to relate to the owner. So I start by understanding where the owner is. You know, where are they right now? They've grown their company to a certain point, but what is their number one goal right now, today? Not multiple goals, but one goal. What are they trying to accomplish? You know, where do they want to be? Really dig into that. It gets to their why. You know, why are they doing this? Why have they taken this risk? Why have they sacrificed, you know, a lot of time and money and energy into a business? So understanding that, what is their goal right now? Then within that, from that goal, what are their biggest challenges? What's standing in their way? Now that provides really kind of almost a story of where they are. And it's reminded me of a conversation I just had this week. We were talking about looking at selling a company. You have to approach your company and deal with your company like you might have to put it on the market next week. And that sounds like, well, I'm not ready to put it on the market. Yes, but when you are, you should be looking at always trying to optimize your business, at whatever level it might be. And it will always go in stages. You're not going to go from 100,000 to 8 million, you know, overnight. It's at whatever stage you are. So understanding where you are as an owner, what your motivations are. You know, are you thinking of selling? Are you thinking of bringing in a partner? There's all different dynamics. Your business operates within a whole ecosystem. So understanding what your role is and what you want out of it as an owner is absolutely critical.
Yeah.
From there,
go ahead. Sorry.
from there, I do a very similar analysis of their business. So I separate the owner and what they're doing and what's going on with their business.
Yeah. So I'm going to be a little tongue in cheek, but it sounds like you're really talking with your people and you're really actually consulting with them and listening to them and taking a lot of time on the front end so that you can have better systems on the back end. And I think so many people are just wanting to get to the end results. And especially in the age of technology, they're missing out on this human component. And it sounds like knowing that every business is different, you really lean into this human component and get to know your people first.
A couple of things. It teaches you what their priorities are. It teaches you how they communicate. It teaches you, it can teach you a lot on how you should proceed with somebody. I mean, it's like going to the doctor. You need a good diagnosis before you can get a responsible, a course of action. Yet in business, we'll often just dive right in and say, this tool or this coach or this technology is going to solve things, but you don't know what, if you don't have a reference point, of what you're looking for overall as an owner, what do you want to get out of this? And how long do you want to do it? Because everything, tend to think that everything eventually will be sold or something will change, whether it's, again, partnerships or financing or whatever. That's part of the whole growth process, and what role you really need to the owners start to need to think about what their role is within all of this. And one of the key things that we look at with all this, because normally most people are buried in it, is time. Can you spend time on thinking about growing instead of just putting in the 8, 10, 12 hours a day just to exist?
Yeah.
And that's a really key critical component to this first step.
Yeah. Oh, talking time. That's my love language. I love talking about this. And, we're talking a lot about, helping them not only understand their goals and their challenges, but then you also wrap this back around and help them find solutions. So talk to me a little bit about how you work with your people in helping them not just identify the challenges, but also identifying and uncovering solutions.
There's a couple of tracks on this. First of all, I want to understand what they think their solutions are. So that really helps, because sometimes their solutions are accurate and will solve things. Other times it may be down the priority list, but I want to understand what they feel that their solutions are. And one of the things that I challenge people with is, okay, that you think that's a solution. What do you think how will that impact your business? And in that impact, what do you think the result will be of that business? So it's this whole kind of, challenges and solutions. And then you do, what shows up? How does it show up? What's the evidence that you see that either something's being attained or being resolved? What's the impact of that? And what's the result? And they think, well, that's a bit abstract. Well, not really. This is what drives your business, and it allows you to think of things and I'm more of a kind of system sequential organizational guy. So I like to put things kind of on a grid and be able to see things on one page. And if you can reduce your thoughts onto something on one page, it's tremendously powerful. To be able to, hey, it's not all that complicated. We've reduced it to something I can see on one page. So that's the big thing, is being able to do that with your business. And then once they understand how it works for themselves and then their business, now you flip that over as you've learned that of how you can address it with your clients.
Yeah.
Because if you can solve the problems and provide the solutions and really have some meat to that, you're going to be better than pretty much any of your competition out there.
And this is what I love so much about what you're doing is, again, you're really taking time to talk with them to say, okay, what's your why? What's your goals? Then you're saying, okay, well, as we go down this, what can we anticipate? What could be some possible potholes for us, so that we're not just going to say it's going to be smooth and clear. We know and we can anticipate, but then we already have our toolkit put together so we can say, okay, well, when these challenges hit, here's our strategy to go around it. And then working with them to, check in on, a regular basis. But again, you're really going to put them in a position of confidence. And we know that when people feel more confident, they are stronger. They make better decisions. They work with the right clients. They move through challenges so much more quickly. And that's why I think it's so important to have somebody like you in their corner. So, Mark, I know that there's going to be people out there that are going to want to connect with you and learn more about what you're doing. Where is the best place for people to be able to find you and reach out to you?
My website is reignitegrowthcoach.com. And then my email address is markw@reignitegrowthcoach.com. And then my cell and my text number is 303-921-3440.
Great. I love it. Well, Mark, thanks again for being here. And for those of you that are watching, I want you to hear this loud and clear. Your business is yours and it is unique. So do not trust cookie cutter approaches to getting you from point A to point Z. Invest in yourself, invest in your business, invest in a coach like Mark to help you really go through and learn how you can take your goals and be able to craft a personalized and unique strategy to get you to the results that you want. Stay tuned because we'll be right back with more Be Productive. Welcome back to Be Productive. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I really found that there were some great messages from our experts today. One of the things that we have to understand is value. At the end of the day, money flows to value. So if you want more money coming in, you better be looking at the fact of, are you delivering consistent value? The idea of let's reduce costs. So many times it's easy to just keep throwing money at things, but that doesn't always mean it's the right things to be investing in. So one of the ways that you can also grow your profits is by watching that bottom line and eliminating the things that are not really helping you go forward. The reality is also things change. And during times of change, we have got to create sustainability. So really paying attention to how you can create some practices that are going to be tried and true, even during times of change and uncertainty. And lastly, even though it can cause us a headache each and every year, the more proactive we can be in setting up our systems for taxes, the easier it's going to be. And also it might end up saving you money in the long run. So thank you so much for being a part of today's episode. I hope you took away so much value just like I did. And I just encourage you to keep watching. I'm Clara Capano, and I'm here to help you get and stay productive in both your personal and professional lives. So we'll catch you next time for the next episode of Be Productive.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation.